Hey dudes, this is Sylvette Soltis, and welcome back to Memories of Vanilla. Last time, I told the story of how Stitches welcomed me to Duskwood. It was good times, but now we're really gonna start flying forward. It was around this time, maybe a little before, or maybe a little after this, that school had started again in real life. So my time to play World of Warcraft at my friend Leica's house was getting more and more limited. Being the bro that he was though, he said he'd help me out. See, Leica is about 4 years older than me, so he was already working and earning his own money from a full-time job at this point, while I was still a sophomore in high school. While I was studying, he was working and looking up new parts for his PC on Newegg. I'm not sure exactly when, but at some point in the early fall, he had enough money to basically completely rebuild his PC. And so, as bros do, he took the parts from his old PC, got a new case, and built me a computer of my own. It's worth mentioning that it wasn't my first computer. I actually forgot that I had a computer before this, but it was more than a piece of crap. It had a 4GB hard drive, and maybe 128 or 256 megabytes of RAM, if I remember correctly. It had onboard graphics that could barely run Windows 98 or any games, and I'm fairly certain that I'd already killed it by this point, although I'm not really sure what happened to it, to be honest. And so, when I got a new computer from Leica, I was stoked. I'd finally be able to play WoW at home. Now this was still before Blizzard allowed character transfers, even between one's own account, if I remember correctly, so my priest was still on his account. Luckily though, I got home from school between 3 and 4 p.m. most days, and he wouldn't get home from work until around 5 or 6, so I got a lot of gaming time in during the gap. Eventually though, I would get kicked off and have to go do something else. However, since I could play more, I began leveling much faster. I clearly remember that I was still in Duskwood when I got the computer, and quickly wrapped up the Ravenhill quests soon after. One quest, however, tasked me with going to a place called Menethil Harbor in the wetlands. Confused, I opened my map and searched, eventually finding the wetlands just north of Ironforge. Now, since I was on my own at this point, drinking Mountain Dew at my own computer in the basement, I couldn't just ask Leica for help as I'd always done. I had to figure this out on my own. Luckily, I had already been to Ironforge and Loch Modan before this, having completed a quest in Elwyn Forest that took me there. So I hopped on a griffin, went AFK as you do, and came back about 10 minutes later, just as I was landing in Thelsamar. Thus began my next epic journey, finding the right gate into the wetlands. Traveling north, I entered a gateway that took me into a snowy area, Dunmurrow, and followed the path for a while before realizing my mistake. I shook my head in real life, turned around, and made my way back into Loch Modan. I ran around the north tower until I found the right gate. With a sigh, I made my way through and down the twisty-turny path into the crocolisk-infested zone. I followed that path for what seemed like ages. After all, the harbor was on the westernmost point of the zone, and I had entered at the southeastern end of the path. Eventually, though, I came to a crossroads. Now, my gut told me to turn right and follow the path, but I thought that I should be a bit more careful this time, lest I end up going the wrong way again like I just had. Looking around, I noticed a signpost nearby. So I scrolled my mouse over it and found my answer. To the left, Menethil Harbor. To the right, Dunmodir. Okay, so it's a good thing that I didn't listen to my gut on that one. Continuing down the everlasting path, I eventually came to the bridge that marked the entrance to Menethil Harbor. With another sigh, I ran straight over to the flight master, got the flight path, and vowed to never make that trip on foot again. Of course, I eventually would when leveling a night elf, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, I finished up the Morbinfell quest shortly after that, doing the quests required of it in the wetlands, albeit with several deaths to the ghosts in the shipwrecks to the north, flying back down to Duskwood, and taking him out with a party without significant trouble. But to this day, I still remember that epic journey north, the split paths that I faced, and the feeling of achievement and relief when I finally reached my destination. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Memories of Vanilla. If you did, why not like it and leave a comment telling about your own memories of traversing the World of Warcraft back in the day? I'd love to hear your story. Also, remember to check back later for more content, as I plan to continue this series until World of Warcraft Classic finally launches in summer 2019. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and check out my blog on Blogspot for more content. And until the next installment, take it easy, guys.